Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Katie Porter's Income Inequality Posse. I am your hostess with mostest, Nancy McLaren. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this whiteboard because we need to talk a little bit about how things work in this industry that I'm going to talk about today. So last time I talked a little bit about teaching, but before I was a teacher, I was an actor. So I decided I would talk about what is going on right now with the actor and writer strikes and sort of why they're pissed off. And I think that you will sort of understand when I tell you sort of the history leading up to this. So it used to be that when you did a TV show or a movie, you would get paid an initial sum of money for the doing it. Now, that would go for the theatrical release or the first time it was ever shown on television. However, every time that movie or TV show was shown again, either in reruns or ABC bought it and they're showing it for Christmas, everybody on the production would get a residual. And it differed, but it usually had to do with advertising money coming in. So I think I actually put that on share that. So residuals were a real big part of what actors made and writers. They didn't just get a little bit for whatever they got for the original, they would get the residuals. So say for I'm doing very strange numbers, but say the original showing, you got $100 for it, paid you to be an actor or a writer. The first rerun, you might get $25. And then each run after would be $5. Now, if you have a really popular show that goes into syndication, like say Friends is run over and over and over and over and over again. So you get that $5 every time it runs for years, and it creates quite a chunk of change. And the actors in TV shows get a residual for each chapter that they're in, each episode. And it gives actors and writers a lifelong security because the acting, writing game, the TV entertainment, movie entertainment game is so up and down. And actors, they may be so popular on a show. When the show's over, for some reason, they can't get another job or they don't get another job. So having those residuals come in can really tide an actor over between jobs. So what is okay, so residuals were calculated, this is what I was saying before, to ad buy-in. So a popular show could ask more for ad money. So if you want to add on, say, Friends versus a children's show like Barney's, there's going to be different amounts of money you're going to have to pay. It's like you always hear the Super Bowl ads are $500,000 or something because they know how many eyes are going to be on it. They can calculate. It's a one-time event. They know how many people are going to see their ads, so it's worth it. Residuals also work for commercial actors, like the woman who plays Flo for Progressive. That woman's just gotten bucks and bucks and bucks for the rest of her life because those were so popular. They are so popular. Every time she makes a new one, not only is she paid to make it, but then every time it shows, she'll get a residual. And all of that goes into the price of, what it was, what they're going to pay the actor or what it costs the advertisers. Okay, so movies work the same. They didn't have constant reruns like we had in my day. There was the original run of the TV show and then the summer rerun. And then it wasn't like it is now where they're on so many different channels, we could find them anywhere. Movies were the same. So even when Blockbuster and Netflix first started, they were being rented per movie or per TV show, and they could be counted for the residuals. They could say, okay, well, Mission Impossible 3 was rented, 2,000 times from Blockbuster this month. And when Netflix first started, it was, you got DVDs. And they could say, oh, so Mission Impossible also had 20,000 DVD requests. And the residuals could then come off of that as some kind of a formula. But then came real streaming where there are no ads. And HBO was the one that broke through on that. There were no residuals anymore because there were no ads to sell. In their idea, in their eyes, in their minds, the company's saying, well, we're not getting any more money than just what we put out, to begin with. We're not getting any more money. So we can't give you any more money, or we don't know how to figure that out. But the problem is the streamers are now getting a monthly fee from the watchers. And they still were making money, or they wouldn't be doing it. And I'll be showing you that when I show you what the Netflix CEO made last year. So that's what they're fighting about. Basically, the streamers are saying, we don't have the ability to calculate how many people watched your episode or how many people watched your movies because we can't put a counter on every TV, every tablet, every computer, every phone. I mean, think about it. It's consumed by so many, in so many different ways. And there could be 5 people in a house, they're all watching something different, so you can't do the Nielsen box or anything like that. So that is a problem. In my opinion, that's their problem, not the actors and the writers' problem. The actors and the writers should be continuing to make a living commensurate with their talent and how many eyes they bring to Netflix. I mean, there are some TV shows and TV actors or movie actors that just because they're in something, more people watch it, more people subscribe. They've got to figure out how to do that. What I will say is the thing that's getting people really upset is that executive pay keeps going up. So somebody's making money because if it's one lump sum people pay, you can just calculate that and you can calculate your CEO's compensation off of that number. Breaking it down to honor all the residual agreements with actors and writers and people that run the boom, people that run the cameras. I mean, there's a lot of people that work on movies. Some are paid strictly, sometimes daily, but most actors get at least a little bit of a residual, and most writers do, for their entertainment, the thing they came up with, the creative thing they came up with, going out again. Like I said last week with the superintendents, the further away you get from the kids, actually anything having to do with teaching kids, the more money you made. And that seems to be true about this industry as well, that the further that they get away from actually making something that people want to watch or listen to, the more money they seem to make. So I just picked 3 CEOs sort of at random. And you can see what their compensation for 2022 is. So the CEO of Disney, Robert Chapek, in 2022 made $24 million, $24,183,003. I don't know how the 3 got it. 24 million 1 year. The Paramount CEO, he did him one better, $46,006 per year. 32 million. That's a lot of money for one person to take home. And of course, these CEOs get stock buybacks. There's all sorts of stuff that has to do with how these people get compensated. If their business is going well, and they get stock options, well, then they're going to get money off of that. So these were all what they earned that year in everything that they got. It wasn't just their salary, it was their compensation and their stock buyouts and all that. And then Netflix CEO, now here we go, our streamer. I mean, Disney streams now too, and so does Paramount, but Netflix only streams. Very rarely does a movie that they make and finance go into a movie theater, and usually that's just for a week or two so they can qualify for the Oscars. Their shows are made to be streamed. He has made in 2022 $51 million, 73,237. $51 million in 1 year. Now, seems like a lot of money, doesn't it? And then you're saying to yourself, well, you know, Tom Cruise makes $100 million when he makes the movie. That's true. There's about 3 actors out there: him, Sandra Bullock, Brad Pitt, Will Smith. Actually, Will Smith makes about as much as a CEO. There's like 3 or 4 actors that make more or as much as a CEO because they have the same kind of compensations. They get what they call the back end. That's a whole other story, how they calculate what the profits are. A bunch of hanky-panky. But they'll get more money per movie. They basically, like somebody like Tom Cruise, who has a track record, he knows what the movies are going to make. He knows what Mission Impossible is going to make. So he will take a smaller salary up front, and he will take a bigger percent of the profits, and he will get paid on average $100 million. That's how that works. However, actors don't always work. And it takes sometimes much more than 1 year to get a project off the ground. Writers, it's even worse. Depending on how fast you write and how many you have to go through rewrites, you know, you could be working on one script for 2 or 3 years, in which case these guys would have made, you know, this guy would have made $1.5 billion. So, and the screenwriter, as you'll see, will not have made that much. So let's talk about the actors. Let's see what actors make. So there were lots of different things, like ZipRecruiter has statistics for actors. I put up the highest paid actors up here for you. You can see that there's like 3 of them that making more than a CEO, and Will Smith is making the same. Everybody below them, including Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and Robert Downey Jr. and all those people that, you know, you think must be making gazillions, they're not making as much as a CEO. And that's per movie. So, like if you're somebody like Tom Cruise and you only do one movie in a couple of years, you're halving your salary, okay, for that movie. You're only making 50 million instead of 100 million. So then he's brought down, whereas the CEO will have doubled his salary over the year. So, but an average actor is paid about $26,000, $26,276 a year. And that averages, because that's so small, because average actors don't work all the time. There are a few that work a lot, and there are a few that work for big bucks. But the average actor, the actor that fills in all the other parts, of which you could not make a movie without them, are only averaging about $26,000 a year. And one of the things in the Screen Actors Guild is you have to make $26,000 a year to qualify for health insurance. And the vast, vast majority of actors aren't making this. This is the average. That means there's a lot of people. And if you average, that average is being brought up by the Tom Cruises. The vast majority of actors are not only not being able to pay their bills, but they can't get any kind of healthcare or anything a union usually offers somebody. So let's look at what that means. Oh, guys, someday I'm going to figure this out. So now let's look at that average actor pay. So it's 276,000 per year. Our lowest paid CEO made 24,183,003. And you take away that average actor's salary, it doesn't even make a dent. Look at that number. It doesn't make a dent. Not a dent. You have to get into the tens of thousands before you actually see, oh, he lost a little money. He makes 1,001 times as much as that actor. Now, I don't know. It's like you can't have a school without teachers. You can't have a movie without actors. Why do they get paid so little? And this bozo, who sometimes is not making very good decisions about the creative side of things, is making 1,000 times more than them. That is why they're striking. That's why they should be striking. We all should be striking because this is just one industry. This is an industry that happens to be in the news right now. So let's look at screenwriters because the writers are on strike too. So the average salary for a screenwriter is about $25,000 to $75,000, depending on how many scripts they've sold in the past. It's kind of like if you sold 3 scripts, you're going to make more. The highest paid ones, the ones that you've heard about that you know, I mean, like Seth MacFarlane, he makes 2 to 3 million every time he writes a screenplay. But the average payment is $100 to $120 per page. So we're looking at most screenwriters making maybe $50,000 a year. Now, screenwriting isn't something you just sit down and do. A lot of them have to do research, and it takes a long time to write anything that's worthwhile, anything you might want to see is going to take at least 1 to 2 years to write. And then they get notes and they have to rewrite. Once they've got it, they have to sell it. They have to go out and sell it. If they're lucky, they have an agent that goes out and sells it. But it just means that until it's sold, they haven't made a dime unless somebody's paid them to write a script. And that happens sometimes. But basically, a screenwriter's just sitting around writing with no guarantee they'll ever make a cent off of their writing. And there's a lot of people that write screenplays, including me, because we love it. We love to. I've made nothing on mine. So let's look at this Netflix CEO, who's our highest one. So he made 51 million in a year, and you take away the 50,000 a screenwriter makes, and it doesn't make a dent. He's still making $51 million, over 1,000 times more than that screenwriter who, let's be honest, without a screenwriter, without somebody writing words, the actors have nothing to say. The director has nothing to direct. There's no action scenes. There's nothing. There's no plot. And you've seen movies. I'm sure you've seen movies where there's no plot. And they're pretty terrible, usually. So that is why that should give you a little bit of a sense of why they're out on strike. And they haven't been out on strike since the 60s. And we've seen the advent of the streaming model show up in that period of time. And somebody somewhere has got to figure out how to take some of that CEO money and give it back to the people who are creating our entertainment. That is the same way I feel about superintendents. There needs to be more money put into teachers aides, anything that has to do with the actual teaching of students. So in my opinion, anything that has to do with the actual creating of the thing you like to watch on Netflix, the thing that is brilliantly written, like The Wire, that you can watch over and over and over again because it's so brilliant, those people should be making a living. They should be making enough money to at least pay for their expenses and a little bit of health care. So that's been my income inequality rant for this week. I'm trying to put them out every Tuesday. So subscribe to the Nancy McLaren YouTube. And if you have any ideas of an income inequality that you know about and you would like to either come on, you can come on to the Zoom and we can talk about it. You can give your facts. You can tell us, you can educate me on the inequalities that you know about. Because frankly, I know teaching, acting, not a lot else. I can do research though. I'm good at research. So I would love to have this be more interactive. So you can leave me a comment in the YouTube channel and I'll get it. And I will get a hold of you or whatever. We can talk about what it is you know, because there have got to be a lot of people out there that know a lot about this and that are curious about how how the country is going. And I'm just going to end with the thing that we value the most, probably in this country. You can always tell by how much money someone makes. Are premier athletes and premier athletes. Those are the things we worship. And they aren't making anything compared to these people we don't see and we don't know and we don't care about. And as far as I'm concerned, that is wrong. Thank you for watching. See you next week.